I'll show you the road.
Hey, Wil-Trans family and friends, it's Pichelmayer. I can't wait to tell you my experience the first 30 days.
You start off in the D seat, which for the first 14 days you're actually with your trainer, and you drive constant, up to 11 hours per day, while your trainer is sitting in the passenger seat, making sure that you are doing everything you need to do. Having a trainer in that other seat, watching you at all times, it kind of makes you a little nervous at times, but it also gives you that comfort knowing that you've got an experienced person over there making sure you're doing the right thing at all times. Well, after the first 14 days, after you upgrade to the C seat, you actually go into a team status where your trainer actually starts to drive as well. The only difference is, the only restriction is that you cannot drive between the hours of midnight and 06 in the morning. Well, after the first 20,000 miles, you actually move up to your B2 seat, which is a lot more exciting because there's not that many restrictions on you anymore. They start looking at you more as a company driver or a team driver, because that's what you're going to be doing if you're by yourself or if you're a team member. People think that truck driving, all you do is drive, but that's far from the truth. I mean, there is a lot more that goes into it. Driving on the road is tough, and it's challenging. Every day is a new experience. There's no such thing as, oh, I've gotten used to this. It's not. Every day is a new experience. The thing I've enjoyed the most out of the first 30 days is definitely the driving. You see a lot of the country. I mean, I've been in 40 states out of the 50 states so far, and it's just a joy looking at the different landscapes that our great country has to offer us. I would say the biggest challenge in the last 30 days is probably the tight backing, because there's some of those older places have really tight backing into those docks. So that's probably the biggest challenge of driving trucks so far. While you're in school, they give you what you need to know, but you don't actually learn until you really get out there and experience it for yourself. More of on-the-job training. Well, within that first 20,000 miles, you learn to appreciate life a lot more. I mean, if you've got a family, you want to get back to them, and it kind of relates back to when I was in the military, where it's like a deployment. Although you're really not in harm's way like before, but it's still that kind of concept that you have where you're away from your family a lot, and then when you do come home, you do appreciate life a whole lot more. Well, I've got one of the best trainers in the fleet. His name is Phil Hazard. I got to give him a shout out. But Phil is a great trainer. In fact, when they paired me up, they said, he's always top 3 in the fuel. So what better person to learn from than the guy that knows how to save fuel? Phil is great. Phil constantly watches over my back and makes sure I'm doing the right thing. Doesn't say much anymore. That means usually I'm doing a good job. That's what I would assume. But he's an outstanding trainer. He's one of the best. Having a great fleet manager is probably one of the most important things to do, because he looks after you in all aspects. He makes sure that you have the load. He checks on you. He calls for your well-being. He's just a great guy. My fleet manager is Skip Wilson, and I being in Wil-Trans, I wouldn't want anybody else but Skip as my fleet manager.
Dale's in here today to upgrade to a B2. Dale is on the truck with Phil Hazard. They are the #1 fuel cost truck on my fleet. Very proud of that. I know they are too. So far, he's done a wonderful job working with me, very reliable, established excellent communication skills with me and the customers, and the first 30 days have been excellent working with Dale. He's done a wonderful job, and I look forward to moving forward with him.
My advice to new students coming aboard Wil-Trans is just remember, it's going to be very challenging. School is just the beginning, but after orientation and your first 20,000 miles, and from there on out, it's going to be a challenge. And just keep that in mind. It's a tough profession, but a very rewarding one. Well, now that I've shared my experience in my first 20,000 miles, I can't wait to tell you about my next 20,000 miles and my B1 upgrade.